I grew up in the 90s, and there was one series that had a double life. That was the Sonic the Hedgehog cartoons. I've talked about Mega Man in another video. That series stayed faithful to the games. But Sonic can't really do that. It's a world of stages spanning around tropical forests, islands, flying ships, and at the time, a small list of characters. So coming up with a series based off those ideas isn't easy. I'm going to be reviewing the three American series, Sonic the Hedgehog, Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, and Sonic Underground, beginning with Sonic Underground. The Sega Dreamcast was being prepared for a mid-1999 release, so Sega wanted a series alongside that. By now, this was the third Sonic series produced by DiC. None of the series directly connect, each one is in a different universe. The only exception is Jaleel White has voiced Sonic for all three shows. I've always enjoyed White as the voice of Sonic. You knew him from Family Matters, but you never felt like you were just listening to Urkel. Sonic was Sonic, and that was it. He captured the snarky, overconfident, and reckless hero.
Hello.
He basically embodied the Sega commercial, the cool kid, the one that wanted to be different from Nintendo. DiC already had two different attempts with Sonic. The first was a mixture of drama and comedy, high-stake danger for the characters, with the second being more like a Looney Tunes series, with many episodes feeling like Roadrunner. Underground was an amalgamation of both the previous series. Now that's not a bad idea. Each of the series had good qualities, but with Underground, you can see they were rushing its production. They were more focused on meeting the deadline of the Dreamcast than really developing the story on point. Now, a lot of casual fans from the look of Underground will think it's a continuation of the first Sonic series, because they basically reused the visual look of that show. Robotnik, Robotropolis/Mobius, how Sonic talks, they're nearly identical. They even have Ben Hurst, who worked on the original series, write many episodes of Underground. But it's not. It feels more like a bait and switch in that regard. Underground also has several conflicting issues, making all this worse. The main story was about the fall of Mobius to Dr. Robotnik. Sonic was a part of a royal family who was run by his mother, Queen Alina. Sonic also had a brother and sister, Sonia and Manic. Alina was forced into hiding and left her children with different people. Sonic was left in the outskirts. Manic was actually taken by thieves, so he grew up a crook, with Sonia the only one being in a semi-royal environment. That's a good start. Lost siblings, missing mother. There's a prophecy that says at some point Sonic and the others will reunite to stop Robotnik. Where it goes wrong is there's too many other elements put in, and they don't gel. The first thing you'll notice is Tails and the Power Rings are never featured in the show. The only game character that got in for one episode was Knuckles. It's not a bad thing per se, but with so many other things going on, they removed the very little elements the games can give the show. The next thing was the music. I did not watch the series when it originally ran for this reason. But watching the series now, the commercials promoting it back then did a horrible job. I thought the show was solely about music. Like, why would a Sonic show have music in it to begin with? I still don't like it, but I thought it was going to be 100 times worse. I'm the guy who hates the musical moments in Disney movies. Every time one pops up, next. This is a problem because it would be like doing a Superman show and him using a weapon. The justification was that Robotnik banned music. At first, in the pilot episodes, they did use the music as a way to uplift people, make them join the freedom fighters, but that was dropped fast. The songs eventually got relegated to being done once each episode, and they're really forgettable. They're not bad, but they have no purpose in this show, especially when they hired different people for the singing voices. The first dumb thing was that they had White voice all three characters. White has one voice. He can't hide it like other voice actors such as Billy West and Tress MacNeille. You'll get a kick out of the singing voices when you realize Double D from Ed, Edd and Eddy is singing for Sonic, Mouse from Reboot is singing for Sonia, and Taylor Ross for Manic. The show is doing too many things for its own good. Not only do they do music, the instruments have special powers. Sonic's guitar can shoot out a laser, Sonia's keyboard is a gun, with Manic's drums causing earthquakes. They store their instruments in their special medallions so they're not lugging the junk around. With the exception of Manic, Sonic and Sonia don't need these. They have powers of their own. Sonia can make tornadoes and Sonic can run. Why do they have these instruments? Now another thing they did was they ignored Robotnik. This takes a cue from Adventures of Sonic. Scratch and Grounder were the subordinates that dealt with Sonic through that series, but Robotnik appeared in every episode. Underground had a similar duo, Sleet and Dingo. Dingo was a stereotypical Australian dude. Sleet, pompous and the annoying boss. With a weird gimmick, Sleet is able to transform Dingo into all kinds of things from bugs to vacuum cleaners. But for a good chunk of episodes, Robotnik either doesn't appear or he got like one line. So you easily forget he's in the show. How do you forget your main villain? The episodes themselves don't really have any connection. They're basically standalones with various guests and little reoccurring storylines. It's just the basics. Stop Robotnik from roboticizing people or destroying the environment. Rinse and repeat. They did have a few characters that would come back every now and again. The Oracle, he's the one who tells Sonic and the others of their true origins and guides them through trials. Sir Bartleby Montclair, fans of the first Sonic will understand who inspired this character. He is the guy who's in the middle. He wants to be on the good side, but also helps out Robotnik just because he doesn't want to get roboticized. You hate him, you love him. With Trevor and Cyrus, who are really the only other freedom fighters we see in the whole show. Underground was really bad with this. In the first series, they had a whole camp. We saw the other freedom fighters all the time. We didn't know every single one, but we knew they had a team. Underground, we just saw the three of them and their car. You would never think they had a team. Let me get off on a tangent for a second. Sonic Underground brought back a lot of the old voice cast. White for Sonic. Cyrus was voiced by Ian Corlett, who voiced Coconuts in Adventure. Robotnik was now voiced by Gary Chalk, who voiced Grounder in Adventure. And Bartleby was voiced by Phil Hayes, who voiced Scratch in Adventure. Notice a pattern? No one from the first series came back to do a voice. Like, why? The biggest issue I had with Underground is their mother, Queen Alina. She went into hiding to protect the family line and her children. Okay, that's fine. But throughout the show, Alina was intentionally avoiding her kids. They would find a map to her, but she'd disappear. She'd help out in the background, and they never see her. There was an episode where Manic got knocked out. She spoke to him, kissed him, and then disappeared. She can keep an eye out on them somehow, but when Manic was taken by those thieves, she didn't care or something. It never made sense. Yeah, the prophecy said when they reunite, they would stop Robotnik, but you can't have her be a tease and run away all the time. It makes her look bad. The worst thing is that this never gets explained, and the reason why? You guessed it, the series was canceled before it finished. Pokemon and Digimon most likely killed it, just like the first series was killed by Power Rangers. It had a lot of things going against it. The music element didn't fit, a song had to be shoehorned in every episode. You could clearly see it. Some episodes they did it right at the start. Sleet and Dingo, I didn't really care for them. They wanted to be Scratch and Grounder so hard, but they were too comical in a setting that didn't lend to it. I will say they reduced that near the end and they got better. Again, too little too late. Another thing is that you'll notice the production was very rushed. This was the beginning of the transition from film to digital animation, and it rears its head hard. The animation's fine, but the camera work was done in post. What that means is the animation was done at the usual 24 frames per second. The camera moves were done at 30 frames per second. So you have a smooth camera move on top of lower frame rate animation. It sticks out like a sore thumb. There are episodes that did stand out. The Terminator 2 parody episode, I think, is the best one. Bartleby was on trial in one to pay for his actions he did in a previous episode, but this was too late. 30 episodes had passed and no real care to a arcing story was done. Only in a handful of final episodes they set stuff up that would be used later, like a special pendant, which never happened. I have to also laugh at some of the reviews given. There were people saying one of the reasons why the show failed was because of its complicated story. I'm sorry, what? Underground barely has a story. That was one of its weaknesses. The original Sonic had a far more complex and engaging story. I was 7 when that was on, and I followed that every freaking weekend. It's the reason why fans of the original show are pissed off at it being canceled till this day, and reviewers say Underground was too hard for kids to follow. The thing that hurts the most is that Ben Hurst wanted to continue the original show. You could see things here and there of that show in Underground. Underground deserved to have a better story. That potential was always there. They got double the episodes of the first series, and they wasted most of them. You know what stings more? The Sonic comic had a story planned to finish off Underground, but because Underground wasn't a part of the comic's continuity, it was an alternate universe thing, the issue got scrapped and never made it to print. So till this day, we have 2 Sonic series that have no ending. I guess Adventures was the lucky one, being the Looney Tunes show, and that's the one that got the most episodes. The Sonic video games have introduced us to tons of characters. It would be cool to have a video game that used the animated shows as their basis. Sega made Generations that blended the past and present Sonic together. They waste money on that god-awful 2006 game. What would you lose in doing a game based on the TV series? And don't remind me of Sonic Boom. I'm like, really? This was made. Did you not learn that people hated humans in 2006 and you go and make Knuckles in human proportions? I don't understand Sega sometimes. No, I do get it. Sega wants Sonic to be big again, so they're just trying everything at this point. I really wish Sonic could get lucky, like Mega Man did, and complete a story. I know Sonic X exists, I'm talking America-wise. Sonic's had very bad luck in games and animation for a while. I'm glad the live-action movie was decent. I hope that this will spark something at Sega to look at everything they've done and keep Sonic on track from now on. Thanks for checking out the review. Subscribe if you want to see more, and if you remember a movie or show that's long been forgotten, good or bad, leave it as a suggestion below. I'm always on the lookout for obscured stuff.